Let's not scratch it again.
Everything about SolaX. Where's your shuriken? I mean utility knife. We've prepared an unboxing video as we get many questions about the SolaX brand and products, what they can do, why we included them in our portfolio, and what types of installations we recommend them for. The most common question our technical managers and director receive is how to properly build a SolaX system. It's usually about customer needs, and we always try to meet them. Let's take a look, Norby, at what's in the box.
As soon as we open it, we see it comes with a mounting bracket. You can use this to install it on the wall in this position. This is where the inverter is mounted.
How much does the inverter weigh roughly?
This type weighs close to 20 kilos, but of course the larger the series, the heavier it gets. Some models weigh up to 47 kilo.
Great.
Then there's a little box inside with the user manual, which everyone typically throw it when they take it out. But it actually contains a lot of useful information. Specifically for SolaX, if you don't know anything about the inverter, you can open this up, flip through it, and figure out how to install it. It has everything you need to know about wiring and setup, so it's definitely worth keeping.
Do you recommend this mainly for end users, or is it more for installers?
Both, actually. It explains how to handle issues, like if there's an error code, how to resolve it. For example, these are the factory power clamps. You need to install them at the feed-in point, especially if you have a grid-tied or battery system. They measure the phases through these. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, I recommend it to both installers and end users, as it contains a lot of useful information.
Compared to older products, the size of this one is very convenient, so it fits almost anywhere.
Yes, it's much smaller than the older models. The old ones were roughly twice or even 2.5 times the size, making them very difficult to fit into existing distribution boxes. But these can now be easily installed, almost without any modifications.
So you don't even need to buy a smart meter for the SolaX?
No, it's not necessary, because when we install the power clamps, they can be connected to the inverter with a simple RJ45 connector. In this case, you might need an extension because 10 centimeters is too short to connect directly. You can use an Ethernet cable if there's no extension. Since you've already unpacked it, let's take a look. Here's the coupler. You can plug this part in. It has multiple connectors, and you can make longer cables with it.
People often ask how far it can be extended.
Approximately around 100-150 meters is the maximum.
Cool.
With regular Cat5 or Cat6 shielded cables, you can extend it. Only beyond this distance is it necessary to additionally install a smart meter. So under normal circumstances, a smart meter isn't needed because the clamps are sufficient to measure consumption.
And when do we recommend a smart meter?
Well, if the distance is more than 100-150 meters, or if the feed-in is very large. Although this rarely happens in residential use, it's more common in larger systems. It measures up to 100 amps. If the feed-in exceeds 100 amps, the option is to use larger clamps, as the cross-section of the cable that fits inside is also important. If the cable's cross-section requires it, we can install larger clamps. Or if there isn't a clamp large enough, say for 300 or 400 amps, which could be connected directly to the inverter. In that case, an external smart meter is needed, which also requires clamps.
So the customer buys 2 clamps?
No, they don't buy 2. Instead, they purchase the smart meter separately, and depending on the feed-in, they may also need to buy additional clamps to measure the phases, voltage, and current with the clamps. We have smart meters in stock, and you can find them on our website at shop.solarkit.eu.
Let's see what else is in the box.
Here are the screws, which are mainly for securing the unit to concrete. Besides that, it also comes with factory MC4 connectors for the DC side, for both the battery and the string. These are included as well as the ferrules for connecting the AC side to the inverter, ensuring all connections are secure and reliable.
Yes. And we keep the user manual. Yes, we don't throw that away.
Let's not scratch it again. An essential accessory included is the AC side cable gland, which plays a crucial role in the setup. This is where we connect the AC side of the system along with our LPS input, which is conveniently located on the right side at the bottom of the unit. This ensures that all connections are properly secured and protected. This needs to be fitted here, and after that it can be connected.
In terms of price-performance ratio, this is considered a high-end product because it offers a lot of advanced features, but it also falls into a relatively higher price range.
When we look at the whole system, especially with a battery, it's more expensive than the average. We have to mention that it's reliable and very easy to install. For example, compared to other brands, this is one of the major advantages of SolaX, where the installation process is slightly slower for others. When we look at it from the installation side, connecting the battery is the simplest and fastest to the inverter.
The inverter can handle phase asymmetry, which is crucial in Hungary and several neighboring countries. Now, with the new series called Ultra, it can manage hybrid mode with outputs ranging from 15 kilowatts up to 30 kilowatts, offering enhanced flexibility and performance.
Yes, asymmetrically with a battery. So essentially it's almost the same as the 5 to 15 kilowatt hybrid system, but what I think is really important to highlight with the Ultra is that it's also phase asymmetric. However, in the GIV hybrid series ranging from 5 to 15 kilowatts, the asymmetry works in such a way that it can deliver 100% of the nominal power asymmetrically. So if we have a 10 kilowatt inverter, it will be able to deliver 10 kilowatts across 3 phases asymmetrically. However, the degree of asymmetry is limited to 50% of the nominal power per phase. This means that on any given phase, it can deliver a maximum of 5 kilowatts. It won't be able to shift all the power to a single phase and deliver 10 kilowatts on one phase. I see. So in total, we can deliver 10 kilowatts, but with a maximum of 5 kilowatts per phase. For example, we can set it up to deliver 5 kilowatts, and 0 if there's no consumption on one phase. Now, the Ultra differs in that the asymmetry is 33%, which is actually a negative direction of asymmetry, because in a 30 kilowatt inverter, we can still deliver a maximum of 10 kilowatts per phase, but we can reduce this to 0 on one of the phases.
Is this a setting issue?
That's how it works. The key difference is that the system cannot exceed the symmetrical performance on each phase. It can only decrease the output if necessary. However, we can still deliver the full nominal power across all 3 phases symmetrically, but it's important to note that we cannot exceed 10 kilowatt per phase, regardless of the configuration.
Great. Norby, what's the top question people usually call you with? And now I'm talking about wholesale partners. What do they usually ask about SolaX?
The first one is, "Hi Norby, we haven't done a SolaX installation before, we're about to start. How should we begin?" I always mention that we have a YouTube video that explains it all, with the link provided below, and the entire commissioning process is fully time-stamped. You can watch the whole video and it thoroughly guides you through every step. Typically, after watching it, they don't need to call back with this issue because they managed to resolve it on their own.
Who sets up the installer account?
We always set up the installer account. Just like with other brands, we create an installer company account, and the email address used to register the company will receive an email from SolaX. They'll register with that email, and then they can add installers, end users, or anyone else they want under that account, and they'll be able to see their systems.
Remote monitoring works great. What else do they ask?
If the uninterruptible power supply, UPS, is connected, how should it be connected, how should it be configured, and what should they watch out for?
This is a very important question, as end users frequently inquire whether the hybrid inverter is capable of providing UPS functionality, both with or without a battery.
Yes, this is something that a lot of people frequently ask about. The latest firmware update for the G4 series includes a particularly useful feature. Even if there's no battery installed, as long as the sun is shining and the solar panels are actively generating power and the loads are connected to the LPS side, whether it's a single-phase or 3-phase system, then in the event of a grid outage, we can continue to power those loads directly from the solar panels. This functionality works within certain limits, of course, but it means that on sunny days, we can still harness and utilize solar energy to power various loads within the home, even without relying on a battery backup.
They call it the super backup function, right? And it requires an additional electrical connection, which can be quite a hassle to set up, but we definitely recommend it in every case.
Basically, adding the backup function to the inverter isn't too complicated. You just need to connect 5 extra wires, which is fairly straightforward, and you can do it underneath the unit. The more challenging part comes on the consumer side, whether it's a home or an industrial setup. Here, an electrician needs to do some extra work to identify which devices or loads should be connected to the backup function, and this might involve additional planning and installation time. This super backup feature only really comes into play when there's no battery. However, if you have a battery, everything works seamlessly as long as it's connected to the EPS. So if the power goes out during the day or at night, whether it's from solar panels or the battery, the inverter will switch over in less than 20 milliseconds, usually even 10 milliseconds. This is so fast that no device will even notice the power outage, and everything will keep working as usual. This works great.
What are the main issues people call about? What problems have we encountered so far? Fortunately, we haven't had to replace or service any units yet.
In general, the system is very reliable, and it comes with a 10-year warranty that can be extended for added peace of mind. We haven't experienced any major failures where the system just broke down. Approximately 95% of the issues we encounter are related to changes in Wi-Fi settings, where we lose the ability to monitor the inverter remotely, requiring it to be reconnected to Wi-Fi. This tends to be the most common issue we see. The remaining 5% are usually cases where the system has been newly installed, and the installer might not have fully understood how to configure it properly, resulting in issues such as incorrect monitoring data or the system failing to switch from grid mode to EPS mode. These are the typical problems we encounter, but they aren't due to equipment failure. Rather, they stem from installation-related issues, and they can usually be resolved fairly quickly.
Great. We wholeheartedly recommend SolaX. It's not the cheapest product category, but it's very reliable, durable, comes with good warranty and support, and has a very broad technical capability.
From small to large sizes, including on-grid inverters, hybrid inverters, communication devices, and interfaces, everything you need is available within the SolaX package. This comprehensive range ensures that, whether you're planning a larger, more complex system for residential, commercial, or industrial use, SolaX provides in-house solutions that cover every aspect of your project, ensuring you have everything you need.
So check out SolaX products in our web shop, and feel free to call or write to us if you need any technical assistance. Make sure to check out the SolaX battery unboxing video as well. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.